me share up my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay.
So can you please resend the group link?
Okay.
Many
After
of
the
us in IT are trying to join, but
okay,
we
okay.
are unable.
You can now share for now. You can share manually. Then later on, I will share it. Okay.
Okay,
Should I wait for some time or I can start?
they are joining.
Okay, okay. Okay. For now, I am starting. Cause already 17 is there. Okay. So guys, welcome to our third session on under study jam. Till now, what we have covered that some basics on Kotlin and some basics of XML. Till now, and we have to the how we can create a new project on Android Studio. So we have checked it before on. So from today, we are going to deep dive into that XML part and how can we build UIs for Android apps. We will see it later on. So let's start it. Uh, Wait. Okay. Who are joining late? Uh, have you know the certification criteria all here who have joined? What about the certification criteria and what to do in Android Study Jam? Have you all the idea? Should I cover it once? Or I can start directly from XML. So have you all this idea about the certification criteria and all? So I am not, then I will not cover it.
दादा एक बार बोलेगा ओटा
Okay, okay. So, so actually what you all need to do that at first, you all have to go in the Android Basics in Kotlin course. It's absolutely free. Sorry. Okay. I'm sharing the link also. Okay. So there is the link. You can check. So actually in this course, you can see that there has 6 sections. And over the 6 sections, altogether there has total 16 badges to collect. Now, the fact is that some topics are there little bit advanced and some topics are totally easier. It's up to you. And basically what we are thinking that if you cover this section, it means if you collect these 4 badges, then we will give you a level 1 certification. If you collect these 4 badges along with these 3 badges, it means if you complete unit 1 and unit 2 altogether, then we will give you a level 2 certificate. And if you cover these 2 section, it means if you collect these 4 and 3 7 badges and any 2 badges from this section, this navigation section, then we will give you a level 3 certification. And if you collect all the 16 badges, it means if you cover all the 6 sections within 10 Jan, mind it, within 10 Jan you have to collect all the badges. Before on you also can collect, but we will not count it as our certification criteria. So be sure to collect all your badges for the certification before 10 Jan. And if you and what I'm saying that if you collect all the 16 badges, then we will give you a pro level certification. Okay. The certification will look like that. And here is our certification criteria, what I have discussed. So that's the basic thing. And one more thing, To collect all the badges, you need to create a public developer profile that will look like that. So basically, this is my account, and you have to create your own account, and you make sure to make it public. So how can you create that? Simple, go to Google, search public developer profile. So simple search public developer profile, and in this section you have to create your own profile. So I am also sharing the link. Sorry. So this is the link for creating your for the creation of your public developer profile. And this all about the our course further. So what is our today's agenda? We will learn some basic thing about class and object. See what is this class and object. Okay. Okay. So have you all the idea about structure and union in C? Is there everyone know the C language? Are familiar with C? If no one, you can tell. No issue.
দাদা আমি জাস্ট স্টার্ট করেছি সি শিখতে, আমার প্রোগ্রামিং এ নতুন একদম।
Okay, okay. Do you know about what data type is? Arghadip,
নো
do you?
নো নো, আই ডোন্ট নো।
Okay, okay. So basically, data type is something that is basically a keyword which by which we can tell the compiler or we can you for better understanding you can share your local machine to hold a particular space where you can put some data. Okay. So it is something like that. So for writing Kotlin code easier, for writing our Kotlin code easier, we use here Kotlin Playground. You can simply search it on Google, Kotlin Playground, then you can go in this site. So it is totally online compiler, so you don't need to install anything. So here in Kotlin, some basic thing I am repeating. Here in Kotlin, everything is start from a main function. This is fun main. With the fun keyword, we create a function. We actually create a function. Then from the main function, everything starts. Okay. So what's basically data type is? Data type is basically there are several type of data types like int, float. I am not going into the deep, but the thing is that it's something keyword through which we are telling the compiler, or we can say you can say your local machine. We are telling my local machine to hold some space where I can put some data. Like I am thinking to put some whole number. To put to put this type of whole number, I have several types of data types like int or int or maybe byte uh, or long And another one I have missed, that is short. So these are several type of data types. I am not going into deep. But now the question is, how can we declare a variable of a particular type data? So there is two way in Kotlin. First of all, through var keyword, or by through val keyword. Through var, or either use, we can use the var keyword. Okay, for by using the var keyword, first give the keyword var, then give a variable name. Let's say I'm giving the name of the variable as variable itself. Then I'm here with the colon sign. After the colon sign, I will give the data type at int. If I give the data type, and then I can here only put some whole numbers. Okay, like 0, 1, 2, but I can't put 2.2 here because it only can stores whole numbers. Okay, and if you use double data type here, then you can store this kind of decimal values. Okay, just know that much. Don't as you all are new here. Many of are you from new background, new coding backgrounds are from here. So that is why you don't need to deep dive that much. Just know that what is happening. So what basically I am doing here, I am creating a variable of type int where I am storing some data. That's it. So this int, double, float, all these things I have covered in my previous these sessions. So you can check it. And today, what we are going to cover, that is classes and objects. So what is the need of class? That one thing you can see that this is a data type which is defined by the Kotlin itself. That Kotlin tells that if you using an integer type data, then it means it can only store a whole number. But I am thinking to make a user defined data type. What is that? I am thinking to create my own data type. So how can we create our own data type? So first of all, we have to give a keyword name class. Keyword that is class. This is the keyword to create our own data type class. Just think like that. There is a lot thing there to understand that class and object concept, but for now, just learn it simply. That to create our own data type, we are first giving a keyword class. Then here, let's say I am thinking to give my data type's name as student. Student, I gives my data type's name as student. As you can see, the data type name is here int, and I am creating my own data type as student. Okay. Now, inside the student, I can create a bunch of data. I can store here a bunch of data. Like, let's say I am creating a variable where, let's say name, which is a type of string, and I am assigning a null value here. Another one, I'm creating name, let's say role type int, of type int is here. Now you may think that though I am telling that I am creating my own data type, but still I am using the defined data type, which is already defined by Kotlin itself. But notice carefully here, if you want to create this, if you want to use these two variables, so you have to create these two variables separately on here, then you need to use it. But if you create a class like that, then you can simply create a variable of type student only. And if you only create a variable, you can't use that student class. You need to declare an object of that class. That is, what is that? The class is kind of a blueprint to building to make a building. It's like a blueprint. And then we need to create a instance of this thing. So for creating the instance, we just simple repeat the same name of our class, of our data type, whatever we have built, and we will put it here and simple a parenthesis. This is how only we can create a variable of type student, which is which is also indicating a student instance. Okay, so by this variable keyword, you can directly use the name variable. Here you can store, let's say my name. I am storing my name, and also by using the only a simple variable is there, only a single variable I am using, and by using the dot property, I can access its defined properties. Okay, what I am doing here, actually I am creating, I have created a data type name student, then I have created a variable of that data type. Just things like that. No, actually in background there are occurring a lot more things. Not, I am not going to deep dive into it. Just think like that. I have created a variable of type student, and inside student there has my two properties. One is my name of type string, another is my role of type int. Now I can create different data types. I can create different student name, different students data type. Uh, let's say for this variable of type student, by this dot property, I can access its properties, like as a variable of type of my student data type, right? Then whenever I am putting a dot here, then I can access either name or role. By dot, I can access the inner things of my data type. Okay, so whenever I have giving a dot, then I can access either name or role. So I have accessed here name. Then I have put it here a string, as it is a type of string. Then later on, I am accessing the role, and here I am putting my role, let's say 27. Now 27. So this is all about data. This is all about classes and objects. Okay. Now how can we print these things? Simple. That is very simple. Uh, to print anything in Kotlin, you need to use either print or println property, println function. I have already discussed uh, about that in my in my previous videos, so you can check it. And in this println function, we just need to pass the variable what we want to print. Now here what we want to print, actually the name of of our student variable. So here is my variable of, so I am here I am thinking to print the name of the student variable. So if I run it, it should return my name, and this is returning my name. And if I want to print my role, then just simple change the variable, and that's it. That's all about class and object. Now, and as I have said before, I'm saying again, there has a lot more thing. The concept is not like that, and also there has a lot more thing you need to understand, but for now just think like that. And one extra thing, that last days I have covered how to create functions in Kotlin. In if you know about structure and UDN, here you only can put some data like that. You can different data types, uh, a, a bunch of different data types you can use there, a bunch of variable of different data types you can use in structure and union. But there you can't create a function. But in classes, you can create a function. You also can create a function. Like, let's say for Kotlin, to create a function, let's say I'm creating a function inside my data type, which is a student. Okay. So function, let's say I am here creating a function, giving, let's say, name printing function. giving its name. Function, I'm giving the function name as name printing. And what it will actually does, that it will simply print the name. Which name it will print? Which name it will print? It will print the this name only. Okay. So what we are doing here? We have created a student, a variable of type student. Inside that student, inside the student class, there has my three properties now. Now there is my two property, which is name and role, and one function. Okay, so now with this dot syntax, with this dot, we can access these three things, either name or role or name printing function. So now if we access this name variable, then we can store a particular name there. If we access our role variable, then we store a particular integer type of data there. And now what if we access this function? So let me access it, variable dot name printing, just simple. Now just look at it carefully, that whenever we are calling a function, we need to give the parenthesis here. This parenthesis says that it is a function. Okay, and here also I am giving the parenthesis when I was declaring a variable, but this parenthesis is not saying that it is a function. What it actually says, I am coming it later on. Okay, for now if I run it, then it is printing my name. Why it is printing my name? Because whenever I have created a data type of type student, this is my data type, this is my data type student, and I am creating a variable, name variable. So inside that inside that variable, there is three sections: name, role, and this function. So inside the name section, I am passing my name. So inside this section now, I have already written here a null value. So it is now replaced by this name, this string value. So now in this name section, there comes this my name. Then I am printing this name itself. Then it means my name is should print, and it is also printing my name. So this is actually works like that. So this the simple thing in classes and objects all together. Uh, till
Can I
now,
ask a question?
yeah, sure.
Basically, in this case, we can just do the println, and first of all, we can just create variables by val or var. So I was asking that what is the application of this class or like this?
Actually there has a lot of application. Whenever I will I will discuss about the app architecture, where what we will learn today's session. There also you can see that everything is starting from a class itself. Okay, so just I am here giving a brief overview. Actually a lot more thing is happening actually here. Okay, now
Okay, so here we are creating a list of a bunch of, I mean, bunch of thing. I mean, a
bunch of
list,
thing you can think, you can create a bunch of thing here.
and we can print what we need.
Yeah,
That is the application, I think.
yeah. So for this thing, you just need to create a one variable in your main function. But if this property will not there, then what will happen? Then you need to create separately every variable there, and for every time how many time you need to use them, then every time you need to declare this variable step by step, and it will make your code larger. Let's say
Okay.
it's a variable 1. Okay, now I can also create a variable 2 in the same way. Let me copy it. Variable 2. Now mind it, every time whenever I am calling this statement, this creating a new memory allocation inside our system. Okay, so this statement in which memory allocation is created by this statement, the memory allocation created by this statement is also totally different. Okay, so actually what we are assigning here, we are assigning a memory address of that particular allocation. So what is actually happening? Uh, in simple word, this variable 1 is totally different than variable 2. So whatever I am assigning, let's say I am assigning variable 1 here. In the name section of variable 1, I am assigning my name. I'm giving my name. Then let's say in variable 2, in variable 2's name section, I'm giving a different name. Say Raj. Okay. Now, if I if I call the same function for variable 1 and 2, for variable 1, it's also student class. So it means I can also access this property. So I am accessing this name printing. So now if I run, can anyone tell that what should the output?
There will be both Sitam and Raj.
Yeah. Okay. So why it happens? Because for variable 1, as I have discussed
We are
before,
accessing both the name
both the name
from each of the variables.
from each of the variable, because this variable 1 is totally different than variable 2. So what is happening that I am assigning Sitam at the name section of the variable 1, and I am assigning this string at the name section of variable 2. So whenever I am calling these two things are totally separate. The totally separate two containers, and that is why the two different things is happening. So this is the basic thing. So whenever I am calling this function of variable 1, then it comes here and executing this statement. And in this statement, what it is executing, that the name section of variable 1, it means Sitam. That is a Sitam is printing. And in next statement, again, this statement called, and it's printing simple the name. And in the variable 2's name section, there is Raj. So it prints the Raj. So it's the simple thing. And that's all about classes and objects. And now you don't need to go that much deep dive into classes and objects. Just leave it like that. And one more thing is that that is called class constructor. One more thing that I was telling, that in this statement, look at this statement carefully. Here, this parenthesis is denoting that it is a function, right? But I have told you that in this statement, this parenthesis is not denoting that it is a function. So what it basically denoting? It is basically denoting the constructor. Now you all may think that then what the constructor is. Actually, here what we all are doing, we all at first creating a variable of type student, then we are assigning some value there. Okay, but it's a bad way to assigning such value. Instead of that, we can use constructor. How? Okay, whatever variables we have created here, we can simply put them inside a parenthesis of my data type. So I have given my data type name as student, and I am expecting there should some variables. So first of all, I'm doing the same thing, just copying from here. Simple, put it here. I'm expecting that whenever I will try to make a variable of that data type, then I need to give the name and also the role. So I am simple copying it from here. Whenever I am giving this thing, I am doing this thing, then I can remove it. Now, what is happened here? Now I have mentioned that if you want to make a variable of this class, if you want an object of this class, then you need to pass the arguments. What are the arguments? First of all, you need to pass an name of type string, or it means first of all you need to pass a string, then you need to pass an integer. So here we need to pass the things. What? That first of all we need to pass my name. So I'm just simple copying it from here. Then we have to pass the roll number separately. Also, same thing I can do here. I'm passing the string, because first variable is expecting a string value. That is why I am passing the string value. Then in the second variable, I am passing an arbitrary integer. Now, if I remove it, then exactly same thing has happened. So it is the best way to implementing classes and objects. And if I remove the role from here, then I don't need to pass role anymore. Then simply we can run. But if was somehow, let's say, put the role here, keep the role here, and if somehow I am changing the sequence, let's say I am passing the roll number first, then my name. Now let's try to run. No, something error is occurring. What is the error? Actually, as the first parameter, it is expecting a string. But what I have passed an integer value. And as the second parameter, it is expecting an integer, and I have passed a string. So I need to bother about the sequence. Okay. So now it's maybe the question that, so can we alter the sequence? Yes, we can. Then we need to mention that variable. That first of all, what is the variable? That is name, right? So we can simply do one thing. We can create like that, name equals to my my name, and role equals to my role. So now it is performing as we expected. So that's all about classes and objects. Is there any doubt till now? If yes, then you can ask.
Can you please hold that page for a bit?
Yeah. Actually, what in the way what how I have uh, told you about that classes and object things, actually a lot of more things are already also happening. If whenever you will understand that oops concept, then it will be clear for you all. But for now, at it will require for our projects, so I try to make it as simple as possible. Sorry.
Yeah, now you can change.
Okay. Anyone, any doubt till now? Okay. So now totally many I have covered a lot of theory sections. all the theory sections. I think for now it is covered. Now let's start our fun section. That is, let's open up our Android Studio. Okay. One more thing. Have you all installed your Android Studio? Say in the chat box. How many of you have installed and how many are not still now? Okay, cool. Okay. So first, last day I have, first let me close this project. So I have already opened my Android Studio, and last day we have created this first app thing. Now, let me clear something about that. Okay. Whenever I was explaining Kotlin, you may notice that every function was started from the main function, right? But in this section, this is also a Kotlin file, .kt file, but if you can observe carefully, there is no such main function, right? There is no such main function. Then how everything happens in Android? Actually, just mind it carefully that I have already cleared that what class is actually. So there, everything here is everything we were going to use here that should inside a class that is called our activity. Okay, so here we have named the activity as main activity, and it is declaring that it is a type of app compat activity, another class. And don't think too much about that. Just think that it is an activity. So every time whenever we clicks on a launcher icon in our phone and whenever our apps open, then a UI comes into our foreground, and whatever the background things are happening in this app, that this is actually this activity thing. Whatever code we will write in this activity, that will be should we should write this code in Kotlin. That will our logic of that application, and by XML whatever we will write, that will be our UI thing. So for now, watch carefully that this is our activity. This is our activity class, and there is no such main function, right? Then how the app is working? Every time, actually, what happens in Android, that every time when you create an application, whenever you are clicking on an application, let's say, let me show you something. Let me open up my visor. So actually, this is my phone. So let's say I am opening any app. Let's say I'm opening the Ghana player app. Okay, Ghana music player app. Whenever I am clicking on the launcher icon, this screen has opened. Okay, so whatever you can show in front of the app, there's something was scrolling here. We can scroll something. Okay, and some icons are showing here. If you click on somewhere, then a Ghana should be played. Okay, so all these things are the UI. That's how you can interact with that app. Okay, now whenever you are clicking any icon of this music, any of these musics, then what will happen? The music will start playing. And how it is starting playing? Uh, you are not telling your mobile that play the particular Ghana or something like that, but the mobile automatically detects that whenever you clicking on this icon, it means you have to play the Rawan song only. Not, it will not play the Coca-Cola song. So it's the basic thing. So all these logics we will write on this Kotlin file itself. And whatever you can visit, whatever you can show, through which, whatever you can visit in a particular application, through which you can interact as you are the user of this application, so you can interact with that application. So all these designs, all these things are called a UI of that app. And whatever the logic, whenever you clicking some of whenever you are performing some clicking options or something like that, let's say you are searching something. So whenever you are searching something, so what should actually shows that all the logics are will be written in this activity section. Is it clear till now that what actually activity is?
Yes.
Okay. So whenever you will click an whenever you will run an app, every time it will start from an activity class only, and inside that activity class only it will start from on create function. This is a method I have told you all that to create a function in Kotlin, you need to call it you need to create a function only fun keyword. So as here the fun keyword has been used, so it means the onCreate is a function. So from this onCreate function, every app will start every time whenever you click on any launcher icon. Okay, so that was basic things. And whenever you opens up a project, there has some sections. First thing is the manifest section. Second thing is the Java section, where in this Java section, in this the in this section, at the first thing, at the first folder, there is our Kotlin code. Okay, so whatever code we will write, that should be in this folder, not this and this folder. These two folders are for different things. We will not cover it in this course, but we only actually works with this folder only. Okay, and this is the resource folder. Okay, so whatever images, whatever things you can see in a app, let's say if you open up the app, let's say this app, then all the images like this search image, this kind of images, all these images should be placed inside a folder. From there we can pick it and we can show it to the user. So for this performance, to occur this type of performance, we use this folder. Here in this drawable section, we actually stores this kind of images. Okay, in this layout folder, here actually we design our UI. Whatever UI shows to you and you are interacting with your app, that all these things will be written here. This is the layout section. Then there is some map section. In this map section, whatever launcher icon is there. What is the launcher icon in an app? Let's say I am talking about the Ghana app, right? So this thing is the launcher icon. So it's also a design. So this thing we to make a particular icon of an app, we need to put that icon into that map section. And there has also another section called values. There is some lot of more things, like first of all there is some color section. Okay, so whatever color we are going to use for our app, we can store it here. So now a peculiar thing is there. Now for a color, you can simply visit that, you can simply observe that there has a name of a particular color, and there is something which is indicating the color. What is that? With the has, it is basically called a hex code of a color. A hex code of a color. So what basically hex code is? It's particularly RGB format. Now, is it clearly visible that it is showing white color here? Then I can show you something.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, what RGB format is? It's basically red, green, and blue format. I'm doing the same thing, color, giving a name of the color. Let's say I want I want a red color. Okay. Now, how I am writing this XML code, what is actually happening, what is called tag here. I'm I'm coming in this section. Uh, Before that, just watch it. So first, I'm giving a hash. For every hex code, you need to give a hash. Then there has 6 digits. You can choose 6 digits. Okay. So if you want just only red color, okay. So give the in the 6 digits from the between, between the 6 digits, give first digits as if and remaining 4 digits at 0. Then see it's showing a red color. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay. So now if I give all if I give all the values here 0, so it will be black. And if I change the middle two values as if, then then it will be green. Now, as same, if we change the last two value as if, then it will be blue. So what is actually denoting here? If I give FF, it means it calls 100% of rate. And as we are using FF here only, so it seems like 100% of blue, but 00 seems like 0% of green and 0% of red. Okay. And here all the thing is actually the combination of red, green, blue. Through these colors, you can make with this combination of colors, you can make any type of color. And it is not our business. Then what we actually use, I am showing it. So this is actually the thing. And for now, for this kind of, now it seems like that we need to combine such kind of colors and we need to create our separate colors. Now it will become a little bit difficult for us, or as we don't know that how can a color we can create, how a color we can be create. So for this thing, there has a website, there has a color palette. If you choose a particular color, then its hex code is available here. Just simply copy it from here, go into your, okay, just go to your Render Studio, just demo color, I am giving demo. Just changing the hex code here. And, oh, sorry, double hex. I've given the double hex. So the color has come. So you can use this website. Okay. Okay, actually, we will use, and I will suggest to use this website only to select whatever color you want. Let's say I am thinking to use this color. Okay, so I am thinking I want this color only. So just copy the hex code from here. Go to go to the Android. Go to your Android Studio. Give a particular color name here, and simple copy it here, and the color comes accordingly. So I am sharing the website link. We will use it in our today's project. I'm sorry. So this is the website link. You can follow. And also there is another thing that is called string. So basically in the string section, actually whatever string we write in our whatever string means basically let's say if you opens up an app, You can see an app name, you can see some kind of letters, like if I open a Ghana app, uh, sorry, if you open up the Ghana app, then there are some text like home, search, podcast, my library. So this kind of text you either can write manually in your app, like whenever we are learning, we were learning the string thing, right? So what we were doing, we were creating actually a variable, and we have created a variable, and there we were putting and string like that. So instead of that, we can use this section, and this is the most recommended thing to use the string sections. So actually what happens there, we have to give a appropriate string name through which we can indicate a particular string, and here we pass the value of the string. And don't think too much about that, just I am giving an overview. And there has two type of themes. In many apps you can see that there has a dark section, has a dark mode, and there has some light mode, right? Have you all familiar with dark mode and night mode in
Yes.
different kind of apps? So actually this maintained from these two sections. This thing for day mode, this things is for your night mode. Okay. And I'm not going too much deep into that. uh, with the practice, you can learn it later on. So for now, everything from my side is clear. Now it's time for XML, right? So have any one of you remember what I have told about that XML thing? I have shared some information about XML. Any one of you remembered? Okay. So let me show you. Okay. So XML is something where we store some informations using tag. Just understand this thing. We store some information using tag. Then what basically tag is in XML? A tag is something that contains some data to format a particular design or maybe something. Like here a simple example that it's a tag like that. And here we are giving a tag name. So at the capital letter, we are giving the tag name, and we are closing the tag. Okay. Now it is mandatory whenever you are opening a tag by this, then you need to close a tag by the same thing, a tag name followed by a forward slash. Okay. And inside that, we are giving some attributes. What are the attributes? Let's say I'm giving a tag name, let's say square. So what can be the properties of a square? Let's say I give you an assignment that draw a square. Okay. So how you can draw? Then I need to tell you the length of the side of the particular square. For more information, I can tell you the color. Okay. Then at in which position of your page you should draw it, I can tell it. Okay. So these are the information to make a particular thing, to make a particular let's say for drawing the square, to make a particular thing done, we need to tell some more details. So these details are called attributes. Okay. So let's come into the real life example in Android. Actually, let's come into the main file, main example. If I remove this thing, look at it carefully. This is a tag. This is a tag which is there and there. It is a opening tag. Okay. Then, and it is the tag name. Can you relate with the code I have shared? Can you relate that how we are actually writing a tag like that? Okay, so actually, so this is our opening tag where this is the tag name, and these are some attributes which are telling some properties about that tag name. Okay, now what is that tag name is telling, what is all about, I am coming. Now, as I have opened a tag, then I need to close that tag. Then I give the tags, then a forward slash, then the same tag name as I have shown before. Now let's say if I remove this thing, then what happens? Look, there it is showing an error, that unexpected end of file. It means I have opened a file, that I can say it as a file. I have opened a file, but I have not ended it. So I need to close this tag. So whenever I close, then the error gone. So this is actually happens. Now there has two more different concepts, that all the definitions, all the particular declarations of a particular tag name, we actually gives inside that tag scope. Okay, so from this to this is a tag scope. Inside the tag scope, we are giving this thing. Now inside that, in so you can think like it's a packet. Inside this, we can put another packet. Let's say we are putting some another packet, text view. So now just what text view is, what content layout is, I am coming. Just understand these concepts at first. I am giving a different tag. Now, for now, omit these errors. Now, what I have done here, I have opened a tag, okay, gives a tag name, but I have not closed the tag in that way, that uh, this line with a forward slash, then the tag name. I have not done this thing. Okay, so what I have done, I have simply give a forward slash, then end up the tag. It also close a tag. It also a syntax for closing a tag. Okay, so in two way we can close a tag, either by opens and then close, either by before the opens, with the opening, at the end of the line we can add a forward slash to close the tag. So this the all thing about tags. Okay, and XML. Now comes to a more interesting thing, that is what is views and view groups. Okay, before diving into that, think like a real life example. Let's say there has a container, okay, where you can put some biscuits. Now inside a container, inside a large container, you can put another container of a smaller size. You can put inside that, but inside a biscuit you can't put a container. The same concept used here. The container is the view group and the biscuit is the view. So look carefully, inside a view group there can exist a view group, also a view. It means there can exist inside a large container, there can exist another smaller container and biscuits. Okay, but inside a biscuit there can't exist another biscuit, or there can't exist another container. So it's the basic thing. So inside a view group there could be a view group, and and inside that view group there could be another view group, but inside a view there neither could be a view group nor could be a view, another view. Okay, so what's basically this, then we have understand that what the concepts of view group and view is. Okay, is it clear what the concept of view group and view is actually? Okay, so if we clear the concept of view group and view, then what is the use cases of these things in Android? We till now have not seen anything about that view and view group in Android. Okay, then what the things are? Actually, let me open up this app again. Looks at those things carefully. There has an image, like what if to to representing an image, there has an view called image view, and there has some kind of text, right? To displaying a text, Android provides you some kind of view that's called text view. Okay, and there also where there has, let's say it's a button. Okay, so displaying to performing some action, there are some kind of animations are provided by Android itself, that's are called button. It's also a view. So what's basically view is whatever you can see in your particular app, like a text or can be an image, that all the things are provided by a view itself. Then also, if you want to perform something by clicking some action, then some kind of buttons are provided. This is a design of a particular button. Also, there are some several type of buttons could be there. That's not the issue. Wait. Okay, sorry for that. So whatever thing we actually we actually visit in our app, all this happens for a particular view. Where we see that I have told where we see the images, there actually exists an image view. Where we have seen some kind of text, there actually exists a text view, such like that. And in some places you can give the user input, like some kind of inputs like that. This called edit text, where you can edit your text. Okay, this called edit text, where you can edit your text, but that, just look at this text carefully, you can't edit it, you can't edit. So it is only a text view, where a view is only showing a text. Okay, so these are 4 types of views that are popularly used in Android. Here I have shown 3 of them. Wherever a text has shown, that's called text view. Wherever a image has shown, that is called an image view. And wherever a button is shown, that is called a it's simply a button. Okay, and in which, and the edit text is a part of a text view, where you can edit a text. It's the, you can write it simply such like that, edit. Now for now it is clear that what image view actually does, what text view actually does, what button actually does. Is it clear? If not, then you can ask others. Okay. So this is all about our views. Now comes to the view group. So I have shared that what actually views are. That image things, text things, buttons, editable texts, etc. Things are there. Many more things are there. Whenever you start exploring, there you could find there are a lot of more things there are provided by Android and developer teams. So these are the 4 common, most fundamental things, okay, of views. Now, what about then view groups? Now think like that. I have told a story about the I have to give you an example of container and biscuits, right? Then I have found that what are the actually biscuits in Android. Then what are the containers? So containers is something where we can put the biscuits. So view groups are something where we can put the views. Now we have explored that what kind of views we could have. Then now we can explore about such containers. Now in Android there has some there had lot more containers, lot of containers are there. Some popular containers, one of the popular container is constraint layout. That is a container where you can put a, now you can understand what actually this name does. This is the text view, right? Can anyone of you say me what text view does? Anyone? Open up. You can open up your mic and say what actually text view does.
Displays a text.
Yeah. And what actually image view does?
Displays image.
Yeah. Okay. So comes to the comes here. Let's come here. So this is our container. One of the most popular container. There are several type of containers are also there. I'm coming into that things. First of all, this is one of the most popular container here in Android, and we are going to use this container for today's app making. And for exploration, you can also explore different things. Okay, let's come. So now inside this tag, I am using another tag. Okay, so this tag is actually inside of this tag. It means this tag is parent of this tag. Now this type of thing is called whenever any tag inside of another tag, because this is the total tag. Okay, this is the total tag. Inside this tag there exists another tag. So this tag is called a child tag of this tag. So this is the parent tag, this is our parent tag, and this is our child tag. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of our projects, and there should be a parent tag which should be a layout only, or in simple word we can say it should be a container or view group, and inside that view group there could be any n number of views and n number of containers only. Course inside a container there could be a biscuit like that, or going into the we are not going putting up another container into a particular container, just simply using a particular container, and inside that we have put a biscuit. Okay, the biscuits it means view, so it is basically text view I have put it. So now there has some red marking here coming, so it calls some missing value. So what actually that layout width and layout height does? Actually, what are these things? These things are attribute of that tag. What attribute does? Attributes actually explain about that match pairing. Another one is, okay, let me close it. So this is our, okay, one more thing. Whatever design we will do here, that design you can show here. This is our design view section, and this is our designs blueprint section, and you can see the actual design in this section. Okay, so this is, I am using a text view. Now there is two things, one is match parent and another is wrap content. So what basically match parent and wrap content is, what basically a parent actually all the screen of your app, let's say it's my mobile and it's my Ghana app, and all the screen that app takes, all the place that my app takes in my screen, that is called my parent. That is called the parent of my screen. So basically this is our width of the mobile, this is our height of the mobile. So if I say match parent to some container, so it seems like the container will take all the places from here to here as in width. And if I give, if I tells that the container's height should be a match parent, so it will take from this to this area, as I have told that it is total my parent. So I have called to match the parent. So the height will also match the parent. Is it clear or not?
Can you please explain again the wrap content?
Wrap content I have not explained. Is the match parent thing is clear?
Okay, sorry, the match parent, sorry.
Okay. Look carefully. Actually, this is our width of the screen, the width of our screen, mobile, and this is our height of our mobile. Okay. Now, let's say this is our whole container. Let's say there has our the container where different views are there. Okay. So you can think like that. This is a view. This is a view. This also a view. This all these things are view. And inside a container, invisible container, inside this container, we have put it all the view. So the app is like it. So app is that much structured. Okay. Now, if I think that I want to I want to match this container. I am ordering this container to match the whole parent in width. So I am passing I'm putting it inside that. I'm passing in the width section as match parent. Whenever I'm passing match parent in width, then the containers, I am passing actually the text in the text view. So the text should take all the screen, all in width. In width, it is taking all the screen. But whenever I am passing match parent in height, then it is taking the whole the screen in height also. For match parent in height, it is taking whole the screen in height. Match parent in width, it will take whole the screen in width. Now is it clear?
Yes.
I think it should seem some kind of difficulties for you now, but just leave it for now. Just these two properties are here. And wrap content is another thing. It's kind of balloon-like thing. Whatever data you will put into it, it will expand accordingly. Just a thing, information. You don't need to go that much deep dive into it. Just that much thing. So another interesting thing, let me show. This is text view. I am setting as match parent and wrap content. There has another property called text. Okay. Inside text, we can put any kind of text like print. If I zoom it little bit, you can see there has a text called print. Okay, comes here. So this seems little bit difficult, right? For now, we're learning a new thing, but seems kind of difficult. So to make the thing easier, Android Studio provides us a great thing. There's a design for design our things that's called layout editor. Here you can simply drag and drop all the things. Like whatever we were doing in manually in codes, here you can simply use this thing. Now, let me explain a little bit about this section. Okay. So in this section, look, there is button, image view. Leave it these things. We don't need to know about these things. There is also text view. Okay. Now, there it is saying the constraint layout. Constraint layout, I have explained what constraint layout is. Actually, constraint layout is nothing but a container, this container like thing. Okay. So this container is width as match parent and height as match parent of that container. If I click on that container, it's width as match parent, height as match parent. It means there has an invisible container. Width is matching the parent totally. Height is also matching the parent, what I have discussed. Okay. This is called a component tree and it is our parent layout, right? Now, if we want to put a text view here, so simple, click on the text view, double click on it and simple drag it here. You can simple drag it from here and put it here. Is it clear?
Yes.
How you can drag? Just simple right click on it, left click on it and drag it here. Okay, inside that constraint, I have dragged. Now, it is saying something that there has some kind of messages that missing constraints in constraint layout. So there is something called constraint. What are actually constraints? Through this constraint, we can actually set the position of that view. Okay, so this is a view where the text is calling here. If I zoom it little bit, you can see it is here written that text view. If I change the text, if I want to change the text, I simple writing my name, let's say. Okay, now you can see that here my name has been changed. Okay, but still it is showing that constraint is not found. Constraint in something in constraint layout that through which we can set up a position. Just hover over your mouse over the blue circled section and simple drag this thing to this section. It is the left constraint. Okay. Now same thing I am doing here. This is the right constraint. Now the thing is that think like a spring. I am adding a same spring of same extension force, a same kind of spring I am adding in these two sections. And if I add and put it like that, then it comes at the center position. Do you all got the idea what it is actually happens, what the constraint is actually working?
Yes.
Okay. Now if you want to put this thing on center, okay, just add another spring here and add another spring over here. Sorry, add another spring over here, just like that. It is clear how you can constrain a particular layout.
Yes.
Okay, so this is how you can constrain. So I have put it here an image view and actually I have put it here actually a text view. Okay, so if I now run my app on my screen, let's see what happens. What it should look like. There should be a white screen and here name should be written. My name should be written there. Okay. Okay, it is taking some time for building the project. So it may take some time. It depends on your device specification. If your device specification is that much good, then it will take lesser time.
দাদা বলছি যে ডিভাইস অ্যাড করার ক্ষেত্রে নতুন ডিভাইস যদি আমরা অ্যাড করতে চাই সেক্ষেত্রে আমাদের কি করতে হবে সেটা একটু বলে দেবে?
Okay. Uh, are you using the emulator or anything, or you want to use the real device?
The real device.
Real device. Okay. For real device, first of all, you need to enable your developer option. Go there. It's actually my Android Samsung Galaxy J8. So the things may be different for your device, as my developer option is already enabled. How you can enable? Go to your about phone, then simply click on the status. Okay, go to the for me it is the status. Uh, address.
দাদা বিল্ড নাম্বারে ওটা ক্লিক করতে হবে।
আমার তো বিল্ড নাম্বারটাই দেখাচ্ছে না দাদা, সেটাই তো খুঁজে
ওটা
পাচ্ছি
সার্চ
না।
করো, ওটা তাহলেই দেখাবে।
ওটাই তো রে, আমি তো এনেবল করেছিলাম। ওয়েট, এডিট অপশনে আছে কি? ওয়েট, software information may be there. Yeah, so go to in this section and when you opens up, then you need to click here for 7 times. Okay. For 7 times, whenever you will click, then the developer option will enable, and whenever the developer option will be enabled, as for mine, as the developer option is already enabled, go to this section and make sure to enable this USB debugging section, this section. After after enabling this section, then just simply put your USB into your computer and your Android Studio will automatically detect it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So app is already running. Okay. So this is the app and it is actually performing as we expected. That my name is showing here. Okay. My name is showing here. Now go to our, now let's start our today's agenda. That is what we are thinking to make an birthday greeting app, right? So first of all, let me close this project. No, let me create the app inside this project itself, because otherwise it will take some more time. Okay, so for the birthday greeting app, what we are thinking, first let me remove this text view. First let me design an UI. Okay, first let me design an UI. So what kind of UI we can design? We can bring a image view in our constraint layout. Okay, now here they are showing some custom image option. So I am selecting for now this image and putting it here. Now watch carefully that whenever you insert, you are inserting something, it is starting from this section, not from this section, not from this section. Every views comes this section, and whenever you constrain them, then it comes a particular position of what you want. Okay, so why it is actually happening, that actually in Android everything starts from a 0 0 position, and this is the thing, this point is called a 0 0 point. So from this point the all the designs are start building. Okay, so if you can't constraint, uh, if you have not provided a constraint to a particular view, then it will actually happen that it will run your view from the 0 0 section. Okay, so now for now I am constraining it. and I want to comes at the center. Okay. Now I want to increase. Now I want to increase. Now this width and height both are now wrap content of this particular view. It is a biscuit like which is called image view, which is only reason which is only responsible for showing an image. Okay, so this is actually wrap content. Wrap content means if the width is wrap content and height is also wrap content, it's like a balloon. Okay, so whatever item you will put into it with according to this size, it will increases. So if I put a larger image like if a image length and height like that, then it will expand like that. It will expand up to that much it can. Okay, so to fix this thing, I'm changing this wrap content to a particular value. Let's say I am putting width as 200 dp. Look, it expands. Now, whatever the image size be there, it will not it will not expand further, as I am giving a static size that is 200 dp. Now this dp is called dependent pixel, scale independent pixel, not dependent pixel, scale independent pixel. So it is another thing. I am not going into that. Just for the time being, keep it in mind that whenever you are giving width and height, always use dp. Okay, and there is a lot of more options, but don't use them. Also, I am giving 200 dp there. Let it be. It is taking some time for updating. Okay, now you can see that for this image, I have set the width as 200 dp, the height for 200 dp. So it is a fixed size. Now it will not change. Now I want to greet my friend. So there should be a happy birthday option. So for this, I need to show some text. So I have dragged the text here, text view here. You either drag to this and either you can drag directly to this. Okay. So here I am also constraining it. I'm also constraining it. And now I want to constrain it should over that. It always should over of that, not over of this parent. Okay, this is our parent, this my parent, this my parent, this my parent top, this my parent left, this my parent bottom, this my parent right. Okay, so I have constrained this section to parent right, I've constrained this section to parent left, but I've constrained this section above the image. Okay, so this is the thing. Now I have dragged little bit up it here. Now I am changing the text. Get happy birthday, let's say. Happy birthday. Now the thing is that though I have changed the text happy birthday, but text is little bit smaller. Not little bit, it's too much smaller. Now then it means we need to increase our text size. Okay, so how we can increase our text size? For this, click on the text and okay, this will be difficult for searching like that. We can search it here from here. it is text. Whenever I am clicking text, here comes text size. Okay, From here, we can increase our text size. That is, here the by default text size is 14 SP. We want some more. So I am giving the text size as 25 SP, let's say. Now it's little bit larger. Okay. Now, if you want to make it bold, and it is called text style. Okay. If you go there, sorry. If you go there, text style. Okay. You can select the bold and apply. It is bold now. Now, this thing is not similar. We are using a happy birthday, and let's say let give the text. Now we are using happy birthday, and not a relevant picture is there. So we need to change the picture. So at first we need to download a picture from anywhere else. So make sure that whenever you are using a picture, it will be best practice. It should be less than 300 KB, and also it will be better if it PNG, not in JPEG format. Okay. For downloading pictures and icons, I always use this website. I'm sharing with you. Just flat icon. In this website, if we search happy birthday, a lots of free stickers comes, and we can download any of the things, any of the stickers. Let's download a relevant sticker. Okay, let's download this free download. Okay. For now, in this folder, okay, just cake.png. Now I am, where is the cake.png? Okay, this is our cake.png. Simple copy it from where you saved it, copy it from there. Come, and have you remembered what I have told? To use this kind of image resources, we have to put it on this drawable folder. Now simple right click on here in this drawable folder and paste it here. Select the drawable option only, then paste it here. Okay. Now in this drawable folder, this cake has come. This cake option has come. So let me close it from here, and now come to this section. Now here has an attribute called src. If you go there, select, the cake is showing here. So if we select this thing, click on OK. Okay. Now the cake option comes here, and the image is showing here inside the. This is an image view which is responsible for showing a particular image. So the image is now showing. So you need to just follow this thing like that, and for betterment, you can drag another text view. It's up to you how you want to design, and also make sure to give a constraint to him. It's super simple, right? Okay, let me cut it. So inside the text, I want to wish one of my friend. Let's say I want to wish Raj. Okay, so whenever I have put it here, the name changes, but it is super small. So I need to change its size. So we'll do the same thing called text size. So text size come, will give a larger size, let's say 30 SP, and we'll give the text style. Please keep note on this thing, bold and italic. Apply. Okay. Okay, one thing we also can change the color of the text. That is, if we go to the text section, there is an attribute called text color, right? Have you remembered we have used a demo color in this color.xml file? Have you all remembered this demo?
Yes.
So we are using this demo only. This is showing like that. So if we run this app, okay, let it install. The image is not showing. Mm. Why? Mm. Okay. So how you can fix it? Not put it not in the src compat. Better. Okay, better. Look carefully. There are two things. One had src compat and another is that src compat. Two src compat is there. One thing is there has a tool sign is there, right? And there has not any tool sign. So I have set it the cake option in the tool section. Actually, this tool section, what actually this tool section is, look carefully. There has three kind of in this attribute section. There is some kind of different. Whatever we have put it till now, whatever we have put it, all the codes are written accordingly. Okay, so we don't need to care about that. Just we need to drag and drop. Just whenever we are using the tool section, the names written here as tools. Okay, but go to the design. Okay. What happens? Doing the upper constraint, then I am dragging this thing to there, then I am giving the constraint to up to here, then okay, so this we have done before already, so I'm also removing the lower constraint, again dragging it to this section. Okay, for now. Okay, now mind it carefully. Whenever you putting an image, you want to put a particular image in an image view, put it on src compat, not in tool section. If you put it on tool section, then in design view you can see it, but whenever you runs the app, like that, you will not shown. It will not be shown. Okay. To show it on your app also, put in this thing, in SRC compact thing, not in the tools option. Now, if we build it, it's simple. Some time for installing. Okay, so the app is working fine. So this is our very basic and simple app on birthday greetings. So you can customize you by yourself. Now I am assigning you all to make your own birthday greeting app and share it on our group. And I want to see that how much creativity you can show. And that's all for today's session. And thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. For now, any doubt? Regarding anything? Okay, one question is that are you all following the course, and how many batch till now you have collected? Collect your badges accordingly within 10 Jan. Okay, after that we will not count. Okay, cool.
বলছি যে ওই কোন ফাইলে পিকচারটাকে কপি করব একটু রিপিট করবেন?
Sure. In this drawable folder, go to this resource file, then drawable.
ওকে ওকে
Okay. Any doubt? Any odd doubt?
নো নো
Okay, okay. Others. Okay. Thank you for coming. Good night, everyone.